What's up, Ians, guys? For those of you wondering about the voluntary permits and what they can do for our fisheries here in the state of Pennsylvania, here's a little snip for you. 2020 voluntary muskie permit. Let's go.
It's probably about 150, 250 up here.
Jared Sayers, stocking muskies.
Some big ones here. Look at all that. Look at that. That's kind of a treat you get to watch them do that.
Oh, muskie, 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 muskie. That's a muskie. That's a muskie. Oh, yeah, baby, get over here. Oh my goodness. I did it, baby. I did it. I did it, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Come on, baby. What's up, Yans, guys? Welcome back to Fishing PA with Ryan Reed. Well, here we are, mid to late January in 2020. I just spent the last 2 weeks in Florida getting some sunshine, spending some time in the surf. It was such an awesome trip. We made it home, and now I'm ready to start getting back into creating some content for my channel. You know, last year I did a video on the 2019 Pennsylvania State fishing regulations. And I thought I'd kind of kick this off by doing much of the same now. So what I want to talk about in this episode is the 2020 Pennsylvania Fishing Summary Book. Now, we've got a few changes to regulations, one really big one, at least for my area. So I was kind of excited to get into this book and really look at the new regulations and just kind of read through it in general. You know, I like personally to spend the time on reading this book so I can understand, you know, what the regulations are, checking out some of those special water regulations, looking for any changes to really like the creel limits and things like that. So I just want to spend some time. I want to talk about this summary book. I want to talk about some of the new regulations here in PA, and hopefully you guys will find this beneficial as a PA fisherman. So you guys can actually go out to the website and download this PDF, and it makes it really nice because you can get it on your phone, you can get it on your tablet, and you really spend the amount of time you need to kind of read through and understand everything. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in, and we're going to take a look at a couple of key areas that will affect you as a fisherman here in the state of Pennsylvania. All right, guys, to start this discussion, we've got the cover of the 2020 Fishing Summary Booklet. A couple of things that jump out at me right away is that Mentored Youth Trout Day is March 28th, which is a regional day, and you've also got April 11th, which is statewide. So that's a really cool program for the youth to get out there and learn how to fish for trout and really get out there and do some fishing. Now, I also see the Fish for Free days on the cover, May 24th and July 4th. So if you're looking to kind of go out and do some fishing, you don't want to spend the money on a license, it's really cool. You've got 2 days in the state of Pennsylvania where you can go out and fish for free. Also, the multi-year fishing licenses on page 5, a lot of options for you guys to get your fishing licenses for multiple years. That's a really cool thing here in the state of PA. I know other states are doing that, but you need to check that out. Also, some things we're going to talk about what's new for 2020. We're going to talk about additions to catch and release lakes. We're going to talk about additions to the miscellaneous special regulations, and we're going to talk about additions to stock waters very, very briefly. All right, so really quick, fishing licenses, the cost, I think the cost went up a touch this year. It's about $22.90 for a resident annual. And for me, I always get the combination trout, salmon, and Lake Erie permit, which is roughly $15.90. So all in all, I think we're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 38 or 39 bucks. I suck at math. You guys can look that up and figure out what permits you guys are going to need. In addition to those voluntary permits, I don't really mind if I spend 50 or 60 bucks on a license because I'm fishing throughout the entire year here in the state of Pennsylvania. So, some people gripe about the cost increase. Personally, I do not. Fishing is my passion. I like to stay legal. So for that amount of money, I'm always okay to get my fishing license. Now, just briefly, I want to talk about the multi-year fishing license. This one kind of piqued my interest because it looks like in years past, they offered this to seniors. I think they opened this up last year or the year before to everybody, but this is a really cool thing that Pennsylvania is doing because you can go out and you can actually get like a 3-year resident license, and you can also do like your 3-year Lake Erie permit or your combo, and it just works out really well. That way you don't have to worry about getting a license, every single year. Personally, I'm going to do mine every single year. I'm not worried about the savings because I really get excited to go out and get my fishing license every January. So, just check out the prices overall. Make sure you guys get the permits for what you actually need to fish. Now, a really important thing, I mentioned this when we first started, but the 2020 voluntary permits. One really cool thing that I did not see last year is now they've opened this up for multi-year. So, as a muskie fisherman, I can get my voluntary muskie permit for the year for $11.90. I actually did that. I was super excited to contribute. But what I didn't realize until I started looking at the book was now I have an option for a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year. Now, this is really cool because this gives you an opportunity to contribute even more money to a specific program that you want to see grow in the state of Pennsylvania. So for me, I've been doing the muskie thing. I love muskie fishing. That's really turning into my passion. This is an opportunity for me to go and do a 3-year, or 5-year, or 10-year voluntary permit and really donate that extra fund to the program. So that's a really cool thing. And the fact that the money actually goes to maintaining fund levels for those fishing related programs, like we know now that money is being contributed to the actual program. And again, if you guys don't believe that, go and check out my muskie stocking videos that I did with Jared Sayers last year. We got to actually see the spawning. We got to actually stock some fish. And really, Jared explained the whole process. And seeing the technology and seeing some of the tools that they need to be able to do this, not only for muskies, but for walleye and for bass and for trout. I mean, we've got a lot of fishermen that fish for trout and for bass here in the state of PA. This is, again, your opportunity to really support that. And Fish and Boat really needs help. And this is such an awesome thing that they did. There was a lot of chatter about people not liking this. They're refusing to do it. Well, I say do it. The money goes to a great cause, and it really supports the fish that you want to support. So awesome stuff for the voluntary permit. Now, moving down, I had mentioned the Mentored Youth Trout Days, March 28th and April 11th. You guys can read a little bit more about that. It's a pretty cool program. Anytime you can get the youth involved in fishing, it's always a good thing. Okay, now taking a look at the all fish species inland waters, I was really kind of looking at this, and I spent some time reading through this just so I can understand and make sure I know like what the seasons are for specific species of fish. But I also look for the minimum size, and I'm not seeing any changes on minimum size or daily limits. So these creel limits are the exact same as last year. At least I haven't found anything that's different. So it's really cool. You guys need to spend some time on this and make sure you understand, if I'm fishing for largemouth, smallmouth, or spotted bass, you want to make sure you're following the rules. So like if there's a no harvest, those are the things you want to pay attention to. And it's not just, a regulation, just saying that we can't do this. This is specifically for the fish. There's some spawning going on. It's just really important to pay attention to this stuff as a fisherman. Now, another really cool thing is the Big Bass program with their special regulations. Again, I'm not seeing any ads, but one thing I want to point out to you guys that are in Westmoreland County, notice Mammoth Dam, Mammoth Lake is on this list. And there was an article that was posted, I think it was late last year, of that 10-pound largemouth. Some of these small bodies of water, guys, they hold monster fish. So take a look at that Big Bass program. If you're a bass fisherman in the state of Pennsylvania, these are really waters that you want to focus on. And it's really cool that Fish and Boat gives that to us right here in this little booklet. All right, guys, just really quick here, I want to talk about the catch and release lakes. And it's important because they actually added 3 different catch and release lakes here. I'm not going to get into detail of talking about these, but it is worth noting that if you live in Crawford County or if you fish up there, Tamarack Lake has been added to that list. So these lakes are regulated year-round as catch and release for all species. So that means fishing is permitted on a catch and release, no harvest basis. So again, Tamarack Lake in Crawford, that's been added. That's a catch and release only. Kyle Lake up in Jefferson County was added, and also Peck's Pond in Pike County. So again, it's important just to understand what the regulations are for your specific bodies of water. All right, guys, we got a couple of miscellaneous waters with special regulations this year. I spotted 2, and one of which was absolutely huge. So first and foremost, miscellaneous waters with special regulations, we've got Northampton and Mincy Lake. Now we've got all species except for trout is catch and release, no harvest. So it's actually unlawful for you to keep fish outside of trout in Mincy Lake in Northampton. Now that's Northampton County. Also, again, for all my Westmoreland Countyers, notice we've got Donegal Lake on here. So Donegal Lake is being refilled. It's going to be restocked, and it's actually going to be catch and release only for all species except trout. So again, that is so awesome to see Donegal Lake on the list. I'm super excited. That used to be my tiger muskie fishery. Donegal really produced a lot of fish for me over the years before it was drained. Super excited that we're getting filled back up and we're going to get restocked out there. Another cool section here, you've got reptiles and amphibians, the seasons and limits. For all you frog giggers out there, you've got your limits here, so check that out as well. Another thing I want to talk about is the aquatic invasive species. This page has always been really interesting to me because we're obviously trying to protect Pennsylvania from these aquatic invasive species. And some of those are like the rusty crayfish. You've got this mussel, you've got a round goby, but you've also got a lot of like different vegetation that is considered invasive. So you got to make sure you guys clean your gear off. Make sure you're cleaning your vest, your clothing, your rods, your boots, that sort of thing. We want to make sure we're protecting Pennsylvania. This is just a cool little reminder in this book, and I really like reading about stuff like that. So just make sure you guys check that out as well. All right, guys, real quick, I just want to talk about some of the added trout waters to the regulated trout waters list. In the southeast region, we have Mincy Lake. In the southwest region, we have Spruce Creek. In the southwest northwest region, we have Donegal Lake. And in the northeast region, they have added Lily Pond and Little Mud Pond. Now, you guys can go out to the site, pull this PDF, and check the regional trout waters and any of like the delayed harvest or artificial lures only. There's a lot of good information out there for you trout anglers. And really, one last thing about the special regulations. What's nice about this booklet is they actually give you definitions on what those special regulations are, like delayed harvest artificial lures only, or catch and release artificial lures only, or fly fishing only. There's some areas that are like catch and release all tackle. So really, it's just important to kind of understand what your body of water fits in so that you can tailor your fishing to kind of follow the regulations in those bodies of water. Now, again, a really interesting one is the fish consumption advisory. I think I pointed this out last year, but this is kind of interesting read because you don't really think about eating fish from some of these areas. And it kind of gives you a good overview of what the contaminants in a fish are. Really paying attention to the fish consumption advisories, any statewide advisories, and really what to do, like cleaning and cooking your fish. So if you guys keep fish, it's a really interesting read. I would ask you guys to take a look at it because it's just kind of interesting and it really helps you understand. All right, guys, to wrap this one up, the resources and special dates page. Again, this one's really interesting to me because they've got essentially the website for PA's best fishing waters, which I use throughout the year religiously. If you guys haven't been on pabestfishing.com, you need to go out there and check it out. They break it down per species. I did an episode on the PA Fish and Boat website because I just think it's a great tool. They do such an awesome job for us as fishermen. They really give you a ton of information. So I'm glad that they kind of linked it up here into the book. You guys need to check that out. Also, they've got, again, the Fish for Free days. They've got some interesting information for you new fishermen, like how to measure a fish. You know, these are things that we take for granted because our family, you know, somebody growing up in our family taught us how to do this. But for you guys that are new to the sport of fishing, you know, this is kind of a neat little thing. It just shows you how to measure a fish. Also, at the very end of the booklet, guys, you guys get your 20% off Dunham's coupon. Regular price of any one item in stock with coupon, 20% off. I used it one year to buy a fishing rod. It's actually just kind of a nice little perk. So you guys can go out there and just download that, cut it out, and go to Dunham's and pick something up for 20% off. All right, guys, just to reiterate, you know, I want to read you guys this. The 2020 voluntary permits. Voluntary permits are designed to help maintain funding levels for several key fishing-related programs. Revenues generated from the sale of these permits will be reinvested into the habitat/waterway conservation, muskie, wild trout, and enhanced waters or bass programs. So again, you know, I beg you guys, take a look at that voluntary permit, especially for you muskie fishermen. We need more people supporting that program. We're seeing the effects of it on some of these lakes. We're seeing a lot more fish. You know, the fisheries are really, really healthy. And for those of you that don't like the muskie, you know, just know that when there's muskies in the water and we're seeing them flourish, other species are also flourishing. It's not one of those things where you stock a bunch of muskies and they eat all your fish. You know, these fish are super important to me, and I'm just asking all the muskie fishermen out there to make sure you invest, or at least take a look at investing that $11.90 to the program, to a fish that we know and love. All right, yins, guys, that's the discussion I wanted to have on the 2020 fishing summary. Hopefully you guys found this beneficial. Again, muskie fishermen, call to arms. Make sure you guys go out there and pick up your 2020 muskie permit. I'm going to be pushing that thing all year. You know, I've personally seen the benefits here in Pennsylvania. You know, I've seen fisheries like Pymatuning and Lake Arthur and some of these other places that are getting stocked. You know, you really see the effect. You see the fish that are going in. You guys can go back and take a look at my muskie stocking videos that I did with Jared last year. I'm hoping to get up there and spend some time with him in 2020. It's critically important that we send that money to the appropriate location for what we fish for. And for muskie fishermen, that permit is absolutely critical. So please check that out. It's really going to do the fish the service here in the state of PA. All right, guys. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit that like button for me. If you guys like this content overall, please subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. All right, yins, guys. Tight lines. We will see yins next time.